what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Hey, Gardner, don't you cry.
Hey, Gardner, don't you cry.
Our hearts for you will never die.
Our hearts for you will never die.
Hey, Gardner, don't you cry.
Hey, Gardner, don't you cry.
Our hearts for you will never die.
Our hearts for you will never die.
When I say Eric, you say Gardner. Eric.
Gardner,
Eric.
Gardner,
Eric.
Gardner, 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 Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Hands up.
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 Don't shoot! 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 Mic check! Don't shoot!
Everybody keep moving back so we can fit as many people in here as possible. Keep moving back. She's calling them right now, so we gotta be quiet for right now. We're trying to get more equity members out here.
It's gotta stop. We have our demands. We want to have more oversight, third-party oversight over police and
I
accountability.
can open these doors.
And so we're here to demand that, and we do not want equity funding to be cut from Minneapolis.
Let's pack in, guys.
ADJE. Gildersleeve, GILDERSLEVE. You can look me up.
Are you from the UM or?
I'm from the city. Yep, right here. Thank you.
Over 45% of prisoners within the United States of America are black, despite the fact we only make up 14% of the population.
Actually, 12% of the population are all the whites of it.
Here in the state of Minnesota, black men is 3 times more likely to be arrested than the white man, but we only make up 3% of the population. We're speaking in terms of racial profiling, racial police brutality, and killing
Number
of black
one
men.
in the country, blacks to white stop. This is in the USA Today last summer. Number one in the country. Don't think I may go in online and check it. Number one in the country, the city of Minneapolis, blacks to white stop. And like I told the police earlier, you guys heard me. We ain't saying we hate all the cops. We're just saying when the cops make the law, they have to prosecute the police just like they prosecute
I
the
totally
police.
agree with you.
Right? That's all we're saying.
That's it.
That's all we're saying.
And we
I
know
ain't
that it's
speaking.
not just the police. We know it's the school
system, exactly.
We know that there's a school to prison pipeline. There is a system that takes
the whole
black
economy.
students directly out of school and puts them in jail. Gives them no opportunity whatsoever but to fail.
Listen
all
to
right?
me.
This is not just one thing. These are all intersections. They all meet in the middle. These are all part of a bigger problem. This is not just, Ferguson. This is not just Minneapolis and racism and somebody calling me an N-word on the street. I don't give a fuck about that, excuse my language. What I care about is having opportunities for our people. What I care about is people being able to have the same chance as everyone else, right? That's what this is about. And if they're gonna cut equity programs, that speaks to us too, because that's right there, that's pulling the rug out from underneath us. We already don't got a ladder, we already using a rope, but they also want to take that and clip it up short too.
Right. Come on.
So we need to know, are the city council members coming out here? Oh, my bad. All right.
Guys, see, it's not just African Americans, it's people of all races and ethnicities here. You want to hear a crazy fact, people? I know, because it affects my people overseas. $3.8 billion a year to Israel. Go on YouTube, something you guys don't hear about. Israel, because a lot of the Congress in this country are dual Israeli citizens, Israel's the #1 recipient of aid. So while 50, you hear this? 50 inner city schools in my hometown Chicago just last summer were shut down, yet $3.8 billion a year goes to Israel. Go to YouTube, don't take my words for it. See with your own eyes. You know what the Israelis do every year?
What's your name, sir?
They go in the middle of Tel Aviv, and thousands of them, and they chant to Africans that migrated to Israel because of the civil war in Africa, and you see thousands of Israelis on the streets chanting to the Africans who just want to live a better life, telling them, and this is the country that's funded by U.S., niggers go back home. Don't take my word for it. Go to YouTube and type Israelis chanting and go home and see for yourself. And this is what the U.S. sponsors. This is what the U.S. sponsors.
Hi. Who's this guy?
Who are you?
Blong Yang.
This is for North Minneapolis, Ward 5. So tell Blong what we want.
Lisa, come on.
We don't want equity cut.
Come on, come on.
We
come
want
on.
you to cut the police.
Let her come up. Let her come up.
Because the police have abused people in the community. They have not been held accountable. And instead of you all holding them accountable, you increase their budget. That's absolutely unacceptable. So we want to see you vote on the side of equity before December 10th because you represent a primarily African-American district. Okay, we won't accept anything less than that, or you can expect not to get reelected the next time around. If you agree, say yeah. Yeah. Right.
Are you guys going to say the same thing to the mayor?
We're talking to you.
Of course we are. We're to the mayor, to the governor, to everybody.
Pause. We're talking to you right now.
I know, don't reflect. Why are you reflecting to the mayor?
Don't try to pass
We got some members. Hey, we
I'm
got some.
talking to you, bro. You represent the African American community. So you need to take a stand that's worthy of the representation.
So we're asking, are you going to vote against it? Are you going to vote for equity and against the police budget going up?
The budget as is, is going to come up to us on the 10th. Yeah, it's going to come up, and we'll decide then what we.
And what are you
going to decide?
Nobody's proposing to cut the police budget at this point.
That's our money. You represent the North Side, one of the poorest areas in the state of Minnesota.
I do, yes.
And instead of providing jobs, housing, you choose to help increase the police budget.
Education.
It makes absolutely no sense. I'm sorry. It's unacceptable.
We had budget markups this past week, and nobody touched the police budget. It wasn't just me; it was everybody.
We're talking about you, though.
You don't want any more austerity.
7 to 6. We want to know: are you going to vote for racial equity? Yes or no?
I have voted for racial equity. That's not a problem.
This session.
I'm not dancing around the question. I'm just telling you. I mean, the cuts to the police budget are not happening from what I can tell because there's not enough support here to cut the police budget. So that's
We're not talking about cuts. We're talking about increases.
That's what you all were asking. Whether I was going to cut the police budget, that's just not happening from what I can see.
Are you going to ask for an increase for the equity? Are you going to ask for an increase for the equity?
What are you referring to with regards to the equity? What are you referring to?
This is why we have to take accountability of our elected official because he's not.
What have we cut in terms of equity?
Cut the police budget. Are you okay with presenting that to the council?
Yes or no?
We're all over the place. I don't even know how to answer that.
Yes or no?
They're very simple questions.
Yes or no?
I'm not dancing. I'm here.
Okay, tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what you're going to do.
What about police brutality on the north side?
What about it?
It's happening. Do you know about it?
I'm a victim of police
I'm a victim of racial police brutality as
and
well
when I brought
as
it to the
brutality as well.
forefront, no one on the north side, not you, not no officers or no one, made this an issue. You guys sat and watched a young man, an extraordinary man of color, get assaulted while the white supremacist police sat in his vehicle
KKK.
and didn't do anything. And you guys still don't hold none of that. You guys just say everything is all right. You guys also destroyed
Capitalism
my
as
house
usual.
on the north side. I was also put incarcerated to shut me up. But you guys don't do anything. And right now, we're asking you questions that are valid to our community of color or extraordinary community of color, which you are a part of our community.
I think I have that too.
But you have to either take a stand, or
You need to fund Run Minneapolis.
take a stand, or you have to step down.
Exactly.
What's your stance on police brutality?
Because the only time you want to recognize us as black men is when you kill us. That's the only time you're recognized as men is when you're ready to kill us because we're being too suspicious.
Yep.
Black trans men are afraid to come
boys.
out because of policemen. Because not only our families, not only because of our school systems not accepting us as trans men, but because of the color of our skin, we have it twice as hard. And don't even get me started on black trans women.
All black people are subjected to injustice simply because of the color of our skin.
Absolutely.
What are you doing about police and community relations in North Minneapolis? Because clearly there is a problem and a breakdown.
Yeah, and as the chair of public safety, I've had our police department come up and talk with the people up on the north side.
What is talking going to do in the brutalizing us?
Look,
just a simple question.
Okay, but
are you a firm
talking.
believer that no questions asked if a police breaks the law and how he arrests or how he takes down an African American, it should be no questions asked that he has to be prosecuted?
I would say yes if we have the facts and
it
the
a
facts
yes
support
or
it.
no?
Absolutely.
Do you know that? Do you know that just in the do you know that just last summer in the USA Today, just last year in the USA Today, that's a nationwide paper. Minneapolis was #1 in the entire country, blacks to whites getting stopped.
Yes.
You're like me. I'm Arab. You're Asian. We're people of color. That should also upset you.
Right.
#1 in the country.
Exactly.
That's not a good stat to be #1 in that.
I thought this was Minnesota Lights.
Because you sound white.
This is not Minnesota Lights.
Minneapolis funding that.
I need everyone to acknowledge that he did come out here and speak to us. All right? And there are other council members that are hiding right now and will not come out here.
Not need to be
But that's why we don't re-elect people like him.
That's what I meant when I told. That's what I meant when I said don't support those. Always find out who supports you, and then if they don't support you, don't give a damn about them. I'm talking about it, everything about life, whether it's music, whether it's movies, anything. You find out somebody's against your cause, you don't support them.
He's
You're
against
supposed
it.
to go ahead and be for the cause.
Hi.
Cam Gordon.
Hi, Cam.
Hi. What is your professional status, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm city council member for the 2nd Ward.
Okay, but
And I was back there and I couldn't, I thought I'd come up here because it looked like you guys wanted to get some FaceTime with the city council members. So sorry I was back
well,
there.
we want our answers and our
About
voices
equity,
heard.
about equity versus the police budget, and where do you stand?
I definitely stand for equity.
Yes. Yeah, but everybody stands for equity. But you know what? Words are always just words. You need to apply what you say.
For equity?
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because we always hear all of this rhetoric coming out of the city council.
That's how they
and
get
saying,
elected.
Yes, yes, yes. But where is the change? We never see the change. So that's just a political ploy for you all to get reelected again because there is no change really happening. For example, why aren't all the Minneapolis Police Department required to wear cameras when there's all of those millions of dollars that have just been put forth by the federal government? They all need to be millions.
Billions.
Billions.
3.8 just to Israel.
You need
2.2
to know.
to
This
Egypt.
is what I'm going to ask you.
500 million.
My name is Patricia. I live in your district. I'm asking you to write a policy or a resolution to your city council mandating that every single police officer in the city of Minneapolis be mandatorily required to wear cameras and also to get educated because they're not educated, they're grunts. Their education is basically based on a very low level of understanding of socioeconomic inequality. They don't have a clue what that means.
And laws from the 1800s.
#1 in the country in the USA Today last summer. Minneapolis was #1 in the country of blacks to non-blacks stopped in a city. #1 in the country. Don't take my word for it. Go online and check
And
it.
that's also the sheriff's department.
And blacks are only 3% of the population.
Arrested, charged, as well as convicted.
And I just want to point out that cameras are a good tool, but as we've seen with the Eric Gardner non-indictment, that cameras don't mean everything.
Right.
Like, we need people. We need to make sure that there's a civilian review board of police whenever there's a murder by the police. You know what I'm saying?
You got to stand up to the fraternal order of police.
Because we already have one, and it's
The police union
grit,
is a lobby.
It has no teeth. They can't discipline our police.
There's
so
people
it's
in
bogus.
this police department who lie under oath to get people in prison. And I have a friend who went to jail 4 times in a row with no real charges. okay? He's in and out of jail trying to take care of a kid. He already has trouble in his life, and he's getting arrested, and police officers are lying under oath, and the public defenders can't get the surveillance footage from the bus for like 6 months.
They're getting away with murder.
And who is going to hold them accountable?
Did you hear what we said earlier? Did you hear what we said earlier?
To vote for equity.
Did you hear what we said earlier?
I heard a lot of what you said earlier.
We had a
and hear what
simple
you're saying
message.
now.
Simple message.
Let's give them a chance to answer. So, Cam, the question that people have posed is, are you going to vote in favor of equity
And not cutting the equity budget.
before December 10th for this next budget?
Well, absolutely. I already voted, and I tried to stop them from cutting it and to save as much as we could. I totally agree with you about police accountability issues. I was against stripping the civilian.
Did you take money from the FOP?
That it had. I'm sorry.
Hold on, let him
The
finish.
Fraternal Order of Policing.
Let him finish. Go ahead.
I agree that cameras are important and that they're not the answer. We need more education. We need better police. We need better police accountability, and I'm fighting for that. We actually don't even have the data. We know that we're number one in the country on a lot of things. We're number one in the country for the racial gap in employment. We're number one in the country for the racial gap in graduation from high school. We're number one in the country in a terrible, shameful things, and we have to change it.
Citizen spirit.
And you guys are going to help change that, and you've got some voices on the council that want to help you do that too.
Are you one of those
we don't
voices?
Even. I want to be one of those voices.
Want to be.
Are
you one of those?
Are you?
I think that's for
elect you to
history
make
to judge.
choices for us.
Hopefully they'll say he was one of the best. But
we want to know now what you plan on doing.
We won't believe you. Just be honest with us.
This is history right now.
Just say it right now, straight up. Look at us in his eyes. Are you voting to support?
I'm struggling right now to claw back some of the money that got cut. I was one of the 6 who voted against the cuts that got made recently that might have motivated you to come in here. I also want to tell you this. I'd like to change the city charter because right now the city council has authority to give staff directions to the head of public works, the head of CPED, the head of regulatory services, but the police answers to the mayor because we have it in the charter. That's the department head that doesn't answer to the council.
To the Federation.
Well, I don't know. So I want to change that.
The council
Also-
takes money from the FOP.
We're going to let the mayor hear our voices also.
Police officers. They have to answer to both. Am I correct?
The chief
of police as well as the mayor.
The chief of police answers to the mayor.
That's correct.
Not to the council. I want to change that. It's
Does the
probably
council
not a
take
big
money
deal.
from the police
It is a
lobbying
big deal.
union?
International.
Well, I think it's a big deal, but it might
From the
not.
Fraternal Order of
If you
Police.
have a bunch of bums on the council, it's not going to make much difference either.
Cam, here's what else
that-
we need from you. We need you to be a champion to repeal those ordinances like spitting on the sidewalk, vagrancy, loitering, all those
especially.
things that are entrapping young black men into the criminal justice system.
So here's
We
step
need them
one.
off the books.
Right, I agree. Here's step one. There's going to be a staff direction on Monday that's going to tell the police to bring us forward all the data on the misdemeanor offenses. And I actually, to his credit, Councilmember Yang has agreed to co-sponsor this direction because we can't even get the data right now. We want to find out how old are the people, what race are the people, where are they from in the city, what gender are
Young,
they?
black, over north.
We know, but I want to see the numbers.
Police
If
are
they know
withholding that information.
But let me ask you a question. Are those the numbers just on? Are those just the numbers on based on the acts, or are those? We would like the numbers
No,
too.
I want that. I'm going to give information on charging.
We want the data on
arresting,
the police that commit the
prosecuting.
crimes too.
Step 2.
We want that information
Which one?
because the police that commits the
We want the
crimes too,
stats.
because we have to hold them accountable too. Because y'all always just say that we are the problem, but sometimes the problem will be the police.
The source and the source.
No, we don't see you as the problem.
You're gathering data on us instead of the police officers.
But you know what? I have a question. How many police officers and sheriffs in Hennepin County are people of color? Instead of your tokens.
Do you need data on that?
Well,
How
I don't
many?
have that number.
How
I don't-
many?
I don't
How
have
many
that.
does it reflect?
That should be part of your data collection.
Because you're gonna have tokens. You don't have a proportionate number of people representing the police force as your communities. Quit hiring all white people. Start hiring people of color.
Can I just get back to
Speak the truth.
Keep his question though? I mean, because That's
It's a legitimate question.
It is.
It is, and I don't know the racial mix of all
Well,
that.
we
there.
should.
How long
you
been city council?
what it might be?
Then why don't you get data on that? I can and I will. I'm telling you that I don't know though, and I don't know.
Spark your
Let him answer Nakima's question. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear him
There's
answer
a problem, and we need to diversify the
The answer
force,
is not
and we
in
need to-
hiring black officers.
Thank
Let's
you.
just be real.
Or native.
No
Okay?
killers.
So I want to hear what he has to say to what Nakima asked him, because I feel like that question was really key to what we're talking about here.
It is key to what we're talking about. And in 2006, I tried to repeal lurking, and I failed. In 2015, I'm going to try again. And I'm going to try because I'm going to get some more data, and spitting on the sidewalk, I'd like to get to too. But if we get the information, shine the light of day on it, and say, oh my God, everybody arrested for spitting on the sidewalk was on Penn and Broadway, and they were African American between the ages of 16 and 19.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We can look at it in the light of day, and we can say, yep, bad law, bad law, bad law. But you have to also pay attention, because when we have the public hearing on repealing lurking, show up. And say, support this, support this, support it.
Yes.
We lost in 2006 on a 7-6 vote. It was a different council then. It's changed. I think it's right for the picking now. Lurking is. There's others loitering. But then we also, once we know how we're enforcing or not enforcing these ordinances and where, we can start to think about how can we change that, and we can keep track of it. So these little kind of get the data so we can all see it is a big deal for me in making policy, and it will help. But we have a long way to go in this, and we have to be diligent, and we have to keep doing it.
This is a national crisis right now. That's why we're here.
Engagement.
Okay, there's another city council member here.
We're tired of waiting for justice. We're tired of waiting for justice.
This is a national emergency.
Can we pause? Can we pause? Hold on. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr.
My
Morgan.
partner.
Thank you for
There's
acknowledging.
another city council member here.
Thank you for
Alondra
acknowledging
Cano.
the racial
So, we
disparity
have
and
questions
acknowledging
for you
my
as well.
stat is true and acknowledging the disparity about the other stuff. Thank you
And
for
once we see
acknowledging
the
that.
numbers of
Thank
more
you.
stuff, it's
I
probably
told
going to be
you, I
worse
didn't
than
make up that
the
stat. He knows about it. Thank you for acknowledging it.
Okay.
Sorry for shouting.
No, it's
We
okay.
have another city council member who is standing next to Cam. We want to hear from her as well. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Alondra Cano, and I'm the city ward representative for Ward 9, the most diverse ward in the entire city. Many of my constituents are here today, and I thank you for coming here. Without your voice, your courage, your sacrifice to use your personal time to raise the visibility of this issue, things won't change. You need to be here, you need to be a partner, pushing us, calling on the chairs of each of the committees that are responsible for driving this work and being proactive, getting ahead of it. Last night, I got an email, sent an email to the police department and said, we have a police camera program coming out. We need to make this information public, consistently updated on our website, because we're seeing a national trend where this is not working. So we need a deeper conversation about how to change our police culture. And
How to
again,
change capitalism.
a lot of research out there that shows that some of these issues have to deal with the legacies, old history, and the connections we have
And the
to
economic
oppression
system.
and the controlling of people of color in this community, which include lynching, which includes colonization,
And the class system we got from Britain.
exploitation of all kinds of community members and their differences.
And how many people of color that were framed in the crimes that they've been jailed for. One of them, African American, had a business in New York. It was on camera. And it shows a white cop walking around and then placing crack by the register. Do you know when it was caught on camera, that the police chief didn't even have audacity to say that was wrong what he did. He said he was misinformed, but it wasn't intentional. He even did not defend it. He got on camera and put it right by the register. And then the African American was only let out. No apologies or nothing to
lying
him. I mean,
and
like
getting away
seriously,
with
like this is
murder.
ridiculous.
Hey, could I suggest we let
the
them
cover
finish
up.
and then we hear from folks who actually voted against this amendment?
be
that we're
quiet,
talking about?
Nick.
Yes, I
I
agree.
want to hear from my council member Jacob Frey, who voted against it,
So
and
do
other
I.
people who voted against it.
That's who we need to be talking to.
And please please make sure that you don't leave this building without knowing who your council member is, because that's how you need to hold accountable. Hold me accountable. I'm a champion for the issues that Cam is also a champion of. We voted to protect racial equity. 7 people in here did not. We do not live in an era where that's a choice anymore. That is a responsibility and obligation we have for our communities. Times have changed. That's why the council is now younger and more diverse. We need to live up to that promise when folks like you voted us in. So I agree with Nick that we need to have other conversations with other folks, and I encourage you to keep coming back to us, keep raising your voice, keep talking about this work on social media, keep blogging about it, writing articles, and get more people to come, because only with you are we going to make this change possible.
Why can't you have
somebody else
hearings
coming?
on this issue?
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
I mean, I think it's important that people
Can
are
you
aware
send in
that the
some of
community.
the other council members? Are they willing to come out and talk to us?
Yeah, December 10th at 6 o'clock, there's a public hearing on the budget that will be happening right down the hall from
Listen
here.
to this, guys.
Anybody who wants to can come and speak on the budget.
What time?
December
6:05, 10th.
Oh, 10.
All right. Thank
6
you.
p.m. December 10th.
Is there any other council
6 p.m. December
You
10th.
can, if you're a constituent, if you're, get on the phone right here, she can help you. Call, if you're a constituent of a council member that you want to speak to, this is the process that we take to do it. They call them in, they come back here. We will happily go back there and try to get folks to come out, but council members respond to their voters. So if you're a voter in a particular ward, you're more than welcome to pick up this phone right here. We're gonna go back there too, but you know, we can't drag them out.
We want Frey.
And don't take any more money from cops.
We want Frey. We want Frey.
The FOP is corrupt.
We want Frey.
Ask her to call her.
Any other council members?
That's how changes happen, people.
Now they're
Doesn't
hiding.
look like any more.
That's how changes